Hey, we wanted to welcome you guys out to the 75th edition, just kidding, of the Collective Mindset Podcast. I'm Jordan, this is Gavin. If you are new to our channel, we like to talk about mortgage-related news, real estate, the economy, and occasionally we'll dabble in, politics.
Conspiracy theories,
financial topics, all kinds of fun stuff. So thank you for joining in. We promise to try to keep it quick and entertaining as possible. Just a couple of mortgage guys, however, sharing insight on economic issues that we feel are very important to the real estate market. So here we are today.
That's what's up.
That is what's cracking. Gavin, today we had a much anticipated CPI report that came out. We want to talk about that a little bit. The report came in a little cooler than expected, which was awesome news for us. Everything came in about 0.1% below expectations, which doesn't seem a lot, but it's signs of a cooling market, cooling inflation. Everything's kind of chilling, and that was kind of the big number that the Fed was going to look at before they make their decision later this month on whether they should pause, hike, or cut rates.
Yeah.
So most people believe that we are still in this holding pattern, which we've been in since July when the Fed came out and said we're going to hold higher for longer. This is another key data point that's going to allow them to not hike rates and keep them held. And mortgage-backed securities rallied strongly on this information. So,
yeah.
Gavin, with that said, what do you think this means for mortgage rates and the housing market in general?
It's good news for the day, right?
Yeah.
I think, we talk about this a lot, right? It's Fed speak, and the Fed chairman he's had to talk a tough game, right, against inflation, and he's had to leave this lingering threat of higher for longer or continued rate hikes on the table. Otherwise, the market's just going to undo everything he's done.
Yeah.
So, I think of the Fed as, he's like that kid who talks tough and he's like, hold me back. He expects all of his friends to hold him back, right? But he has to talk like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to have to get in a fight.
Yeah.
And
side note, if there's a clip, there's a congressional hearing today where, Congressman McMasters or McMillan from
tries to fight someone.
You said anytime, any place.
What's your question?
Accept the challenge.
What challenge?
You said anytime, any place. I'm accepting yours, so why don't you come
What
back?
challenge? What challenge are you talking
April 30th. How about we do it for a charity at the Smoking Guns in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
We're not going to be
what was the
talking about
challenge?
physical confrontations here.
You want to fight me?
What do you say by anytime, any place?
Let's have coffee.
You did.
No.
He was interviewing the Teamster guy. They were talking about corruption or overcharges and stuff in Teamster negotiations, and he's sitting there. And the guy called him out on Twitter, I guess, a few years ago, said anytime, anywhere. And so this congressman says back to him, he's all, well, we're here right now. The time is now.
Oh, my gosh.
And he's all, you want to do this? The guy's like, let's go. And he goes, okay. And he stands up, and Bernie Sanders is right there. You got to throw a clip of this. He literally, loses his mind. Bernie Sanders starts freaking out in his hair. And kudos
Did he hold him back?
Kudos to Bernie Sanders, because you shouldn't have this kind of, schoolyard behavior in a congressional forum, dude. It is.
I hope Bernie held him back. Yeah. Everyone needs that friend that's going to hold him back. You know what I mean? So
anyway, nice little tangent, but check out. It's funny stuff.
But the Fed's basically sitting there and he's looking for reasons to not hike rates. And in fact, maybe even the opposite, right? So I think there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pressure being put on the financial markets right now because of what he's doing, and but he has to do it, and he's got to talk the way he's talking. We get so annoyed when he gets on the news or he has a speech or something's happening, right? Because every time he's hawkish, he's threatening more rate hikes, and he has to, because if he doesn't, the market rallies like it did today, and if he does that multiple times in a row, we're back into inflation.
Right where we're at before.
Right where we at before. So it's he's got to have that lingering threat of rate hikes over everything, but he's looking for excuses, and that's what I think this is. Right, this is a soft inflation report, and it's an excuse. It's something he can point to. It's data he can point to that says, "See, here's why we." aren't hiking rates, right? Here's why we can. And, I think the next part of this is jobs.
Yeah.
So right now we've got inflation hopefully continuing to come down. We hope that continues. I think he's probably going to start zeroing in on the jobs reports, but
well, tomorrow there's the PPI report, which is the producer price index, which is very, very important, right? Because that measures like businesses and their costs of doing business and goods. So it's from a business to business perspective, and hopefully that report falls in line. The hard thing is it's just this sentiment, right? And there's still this sentiment within, at least in Wall Street, that, hey, let's just, take this on the chin and then we can get right back to making money. And I think it's going to just be a minute until the real data just kicks in and they're like, oh crap, we have a problem. And it just takes time. It takes time for that to work through. But the good news for us mortgage people and stuff like that, now that you can kind of see that the market is cooling and this trend it's probably just going to speed up, to be honest, because spending is going to slow down. And jobs are going to be lost, and we're entering into this kind of slow season. We could see a fairly rapid decline in mortgage rates, but I don't know. It's interesting depending on how, like, the problem is that the sentiment versus the reality, and then does that cause people to keep spending even though they don't? Like, it's going to be interesting to see, but I think the trend from here will be lower. Yeah,
but it's kind of like the market's going to look for double and triple and quadruple confirmation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Right now, we've talked about the spread between the 10-year and where mortgage rates are at. And we've got a bigger spread than we normally have. And I think days like this, reports like this, allow a little bit of that spread to be taken out. That slack in the rope can be taken out. But I don't think they're going to pull the whole thing out, or all of that slack's going to go away until we are absolutely sure we're on the downward the downward trajectory, right, as far as interest rates go. So it's like everything you said, right? Like, it's really anyone's guess right now. I think we have all gotten so used to, like, individuals and businesses and corporations have all gotten so used to this near zero interest rate environment. And for 15 something years, we've all enjoyed that. We've all, reaped the benefits of that. But it's like, we're going to have to pay the piper now, right? And it's like the monthly housing increases or payment increases that probably should have been happening for the last 15 years. They're all happening in the last 2 years. And, like all the inflation that probably was really kind of happening, but we just weren't seeing it because debt was getting cheaper.
Yeah.
We weren't feeling it necessarily, right? Because debt was getting cheaper and businesses had the same phenomenon going on. But now we really actually have to pay for money. Like, borrowed money costs something now. It hurts to borrow, and we're having to pay the piper. And we'll see how that...
Speaking of that, I just want a political tangent here.
Oh, yeah.
Because you need to, if you're watching this, you're a friend or family, and so maybe we talk about this stuff, or you're someone that's really into mortgage finance and finance. What Janet Yellen is doing with the treasury is literally criminal. For those of you who don't know, so a couple years ago during COVID, and she borrowed all of this money, like we're talking trillions of dollars, and she put them on 2-year treasury note auction. Then she could have very easily financed it over 30 years. It would have been like 2 years ago when we're doing mortgage refinances and someone coming to me and saying, oh, Jordan, I don't want to do a 30-year fixed at 2.75%. I want to do a 2-year ARM at 2.5%. And I would have looked at him and been like, you're nuts. This is the lowest the 30-year fixed rate has ever been. Why wouldn't you want to lock it in for 30 instead of getting it for 2 years?
Contrarian opinion there.
That's just dumb.
She would have ruined the party had she done that. The market was watching what she was doing. And so had she gone in and tried to lock that debt up on 10 and 30-year notes, 100% the market would have seen that. A premium all of a sudden would have jumped into that market. And although that would have been better,
that would have been good, though.
It would have been better in the long run. It would have ruined the party 2 years ago. Rates would have jumped up like that.
Yeah, but we needed to ruin them. Remember during 2021 and you and I were sitting there and we're just like,
Is this going to
How
keep
are they
going?
holding this rate at 0? This is
Yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah.
It is
No.
almost like mortgages. People were bored with rates at 3%. It was
Yeah.
so bizarre. But
Yeah, but I'm saying she would have caught all the flack then, right? It would have been Trump yelling at her. It would have been someone else yelling at her. It would have been someone blaming her, and she wasn't bold enough to, or brave enough, or courageous enough to do what needed to be done. She did what was needed to be popular.
The problem is now, though, like literally, we, the taxpayers, are on the hook for this deficit that she's created. Like we are. We're on the hook.
In the next 5 years,
And
it goes to something crazy.
It's insane, dude. It's literally $2 trillion just to service the debt.
Mm-hmm.
And that number's only going to get bigger.
Well, we're not $2 trillion yet, but we're on a path there. As these, as they have to refinance all this debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Well,
gonna,
matures.
it's gonna hit it hits $1 trillion within like 2 years, and it hits like $2 trillion within 8 or something like that.
Well, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but I know
It was something
the $2
nuts.
trillion number's coming quick, and it's like half a GDP.
Mm-hmm.
That's just ridiculous. So anyway, that's tangent over, but like,
What's the problem?
Don't make super stupid financial decisions.
Yeah.
That said, real estate rates, where we're at, we talked last couple of things, we feel like we hit peak rates in this cycle, which is great news for us. Could we have a little upticks here and there? Sure. But there was such resistance at the 5% mark on a 10-year treasury.
Yeah.
We're now down below 4.50, which is great. I think the trend continues lower.
Yeah, we're gonna have these. We're gonna bounce in between some different zones in mortgage-backed securities, but I definitely think we've hit the peak. I think they're gonna start coming down. I think it's really gonna depend on, we call them black swan events sometimes, but really it's gonna depend on maybe some geopolitical stuff. What happens with the war in Israel?
There's a lot of
Politically, what happens here at home, and what happens abroad, and how that factors into inflation numbers and jobs and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of threats to what's going on, but in all reality, I've been telling my clients, like, bad news is kind of your friend if you're trying to buy a home right now, or if you need to refinance because maybe you're at 7.5%, 8% right now, and you want to refi when they go down. Bad world ruining news is probably good right now for mortgage rates. So.
Mortgages are considered like a bond. It's a flight to safety. And
Yeah.
so if you're a big hedge fund or something like that, you want exposure to the market when times are good and things are rallying. But when war breaks out and a recession looms and everybody's laying off, you don't want to have all this exposure to these stocks when they're cutting employment, cutting forecasts. You're going to get slaughtered. And so you go, well, where's a stable fixed asset? I'm going to go into mortgages. So that's the idea. So as you start hearing about more and more layoffs, the big recession word getting ringed around, and then as the global conflict that's happening over in the Middle East and in Ukraine continues to evolve, is only, sadly better for mortgages, but crappier for our planet. So
that's what's up.
Anyways, guys, crazy times, man.
Things are looking up, though. It's going to be great.
It's gonna be awesome. This is America.
Yeah.
We try to do awesome things here. There's such an entrepreneurial spirit here, which is great.
Yeah.
Fighting.
I think help people out, love your neighbor, treat people well. All this other crappy stuff is going to sort itself out.
Stay tuned. We got a little teaser here. Cat's not out of the bag, but the Mortgage Collective is evolving.
Yeah.
Really cool ways. We're excited to share the journey with you. We're not ready to make an announcement
We'll have
yet.
a lot more to offer our clients. We can say it that way.
That's true. That's true.
So
it's going to be fun to roll it all out.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in. You guys are awesome.
Okay.
Appreciate you sticking around.
Thanks.